Hello, today I'd like to show you Cottage flower garden. She is big, she is chunky, and she is full of wonderful things like flowers. She has 3 signatures and she has a spine. I did a little bit different this time. I've done this on some of my own, and that is I included a vintage button and put the tassel attached to that. And the button's sewn right through the actual journal. And there's some beads, some charms that match the ones that are on each of the signatures. Now, how big is she? Let's get a ruler out. I might have to clear my throat a few times. I was recently sick, so I'm behind on making journals. I thought I could make journals even when I was sick, but I found out it depends on how sick you are. So, already distracted here. 7 3/4 wide by 10 3/4 tall, and the spine was, oh, I'm so glad to have my energy almost all the way back. The spine is 2 1/8. This fabric here, this floral, cotton, I believe. And this here, oh my goodness, teeny tiny cross stitch. This is the, I guess the sister to the other one that I did. I only had 2. These were ones my mom had given me, and she got them secondhand, and she said, oh, these are really old, so she thought I would use them for sewing. I used to make purses. She thought I might put one on a purse, but I might still make purses, but I'm really into making journals. And the colors here, I tried to echo them on the tassel and also throughout the journal. So there's a doily here, and then I put some gold trim, and I also put some around here, some vintage edging as well. I don't know whether that's crochet, but very fine. So let's open up and see what's inside. Oh, the threads always show on the white. This here is one of those little booklets I've been making lately. It's made with a fabric sample. This is silk. And this idea, you might remember I got from another junk journaler. And inside is some tea-dyed paper, tea-dyed tracing paper. It's a lovely feel and sound to it. I put that in this pocket. And I like how you can see through that there is something in this pocket. Has a, what I thought would make a nice bookmark to go with this journal. It's a pressed flower for my garden. And lots of journaling space on either side, maybe for quotes or just things you don't want to forget. I've done that on my own bookmark for the journal that I'm using right now. So there's lots of tea-dyed papers in here, including this one here, and vintage lace. I love this color. It's a color that you often see used on denims. A little bookmark here, or pardon me, tag, made with some scraps of paper, some stamping, a little bit of sewing on it. Stamping on this pocket too. A little double pocket that I made from some paper that I decorated. A tag here for journaling. This was one of my recent finds. Oh, it was so nice to be able to go shopping again after having been home for 2 weeks sick. I was able to find this the latest time I went to a thrift store. I've never seen this kind, these colors. Don't have much of it, but I'm definitely going to be using it. Tea-dyed greeting card. And on this side, oh no, it's not a greeting card, pardon me. It's from a gift book. When I had fun making a snippet roll for this journal, and I used bits of it throughout the journal. The verse here and a writing space. This verse, I love this. As iron sharpens iron, so a friend sharpens a friend. Yeah, good friends tell you the truth, but they tell it to you lovingly. Hummingbird, some vintage rickrack, tea-dyed envelope that opens up as well. And I got this idea from the journal I'm using right now. I'd forgotten about this idea. Sometimes it's good to look at your old journals to get ideas for new ones. And some tea-dyed, looks like handmade paper. Some tea-dyed paper I got from the thrift store. I guess it's for doing letters. Harlequin postcard, tea-dyed fancy envelope. And I think this was a lining from, no, this is from a greeting card, but there's another paper somewhere, I think in here, that's the lining from a envelope. And this, oh, I thought this was sweet. This is vintage, and it's from, oop, there goes one of my cats. Hello, sweetie. This is from a little postcard, a get well card, and I just trimmed it off and just left this part because I thought these two were so sweet. And that's vintage lace there. And I did some dyeing of paper, and I hauled out of the freezer some leftover berry mix that I had made last year for dyeing paper, so I dyed some more papers. I pretty much used up most of my blues. And this is from a magazine. I just tea-dyed this picture, and then you put tea-dyed paper on the back, and you've got a one-of-a-kind journal card. And this is from a little wildflower book. Oh, I just fell in love with it when I saw it. I think I only got it for a couple of bucks, but it has all watercolor pictures in it. It's from a vintage bird book. It's a greeting card made into a journal space and a pocket. And more vintage lace there. Picture from a magazine. And this stenciling I did with, I think it was sprayed coffee. Did that a while ago. And here's another little journal card with some snippet on it. And there's some of that vintage trim there. Writing space on the back with Ultra paperclip holding it there. And this is also from a vintage book. This is from, let's see, which one is that? I think it's from Illustrated Book of Wildflowers. Yeah. And on this side, the Ultra paperclip, you can see that it's also a little journal spot. And it's got some vintage lace and bits of tea-dyed papers and tea-dyed doily. And a postcard, Harlequin postcard. You can see by the printing it's vintage. From 2002. Well, not quite vintage, almost. It has that vintage color though that goes with this paper here that I'm pretty sure this is vintage, old computer paper. When I saw that, I just grabbed it. And I tea-dyed it just to give it an even older look. Here's a journal card I made using just scraps and this and that. And some little extra space in there and some stamping to make it go with this lovely green. Journaling space in here and another pocket at the back, and I used a little ad from a I think it's 1930s magazine, and I put a real feather here. I mean, it's not the real, I don't think that's its original color, but it's dyed feathers I picked up from the thrift store. And some feathers I stamped onto a vintage book page that's backed on tea-dyed cardstock. Here's a flip, writing space under here from an old address book. I just love the pictures in this address book. You'll see some coming up. And a vintage postcard to do with a place in the province that I live in, Barkerville. Some stamping on there. Cute little tag there for writing on. Blank on the back. And I think I made this card from a book page. Tea-dyed it, put it on some tea-dyed cardstock, and yeah, there's some trim to it. And here we've got some more writing space and a little tuck spot there. So it's just from a magazine. A tea-dye, my pictures usually from magazines, just to give them that extra warm look. Oh, and this of course is from Edith Holden, The Country Diary of an Edwardian Lady. So I've got a few pages of that from that book in here. Each center of this, each of the three signatures has a spread like this with some lace, and each one has different lace. And I don't know if this is vintage lace, but oh, I came across some more recently and I just had to grab it while it was there, because you never know if you're going to see it again when you're shopping at a thrift store. This is from a calendar, and it's from a famous artist, I guess. Interesting pictures. And a postcard of What was he doing here? St. Francis preaching to the birds. And I thought that went well with this page. There's a bird on it. And on this page, I love her printing. It's lovely. Reminds you that you're actually reading someone's journal. And here is a little card I made from some vintage paper here. I guess it's 30 something or 20 something magazine I got that from. And this is just from a regular magazine, but I tea dyed it. And this is from a little wildflower book, and put a little bit of texture there underneath as well. And here's some vintage ribbon lace, pardon me, on. Just a little tag I made just for writing maybe a little quote on there or a verse. And I put this here, and that's tea dyed note paper. And I was reminded of making use of old business envelopes. Tea dyed this one, glued some vintage lace on there, and I also got that recently from a thrift store. And tea dyed a little picture from a craft magazine. Put that in there. And then also made this into a tuck spot underneath. The tea dyed envelope with matching stationery card. That was fun. I've actually had these for a while, but I hadn't noticed the envelopes have this on them, so I was like, oh my, gotta use that. I'm doing a lot of tea dyeing lately. That's one thing I did do while I was sick, is I did some tea dyeing. Yes, you can't really mess that up too much. And that's from a greeting card, a Hawaiian greeting card. And here we've got a tuck spot made from a little book to do with friendship, and I glued this little flower on there to tie it into this page. And I also sewed in some pages, tea dye pages for extra writing. This tab is just made from a fabric sample. Love the rich colors of it. And here we have a flip so you can still read what it has to say about flowers, and then you can write here. And little tuck spot with some vintage lace here, and a little sparkle, of course, little flower, a little booklet that I just threw together just to give some extra writing space. I really appreciate that when I use my journals and I've got extra writing space, because some days, you know, you have extra that you want to write, and some days I don't have much to write. So nice thing about kind of a journal that doesn't have set pages for each day. There's no pressure. You don't have to write. You just write if you want to. Tea dyed. I think this is vintage cardstock from a book. I don't remember. I've had it for a while, but I thought it went nice with this bit of snippet roll here. Oh, I love making these. I always start off thinking, oh, I don't like that. No, it's not looking very good. But then I keep just adding to it, and eventually I love it. Oh, you can tell I'm happy to be back at this. Yeah, I missed having the enthusiasm and the energy. I got the, you know, that bug that's been going around for the last few years. And I don't know if I've had it before, but I knew something was up when I got sick, because I had a fever that wouldn't go away. And I don't usually get so sick that I can't craft. So took a test. Yep, that's what it was. And I lost my sense of smell, and it's slowly coming back. Slowly. Which means I can't taste things very well. Makes you appreciate your normal health when weird stuff happens to it. Little tags here. I've never done this before, but I thought, oh, let's try it. I got quite adventurous with this journal. Little things for writing on there. And some more vintage lace here. And page from the vintage mushroom book. Tea-dyed ledger, tea-dyed paper from a craft book as a pattern, some tea-dyed stationery there. And here, oh, this is adorable. This was from a craft book too. It's a picture. I tea-dyed it. And also, with this full envelope here, you can write on the inside too. I often don't put them, glue them so that you can write on them. It's easy to glue if you decide you want to, though. And on this side, we've got a little pocket here, hidden writing space, some snippet roll on it. And there we go, some tea dyed paper. This is some of the paper that I just recently dyed. When I used the berry dye, like the third time sticking the papers in, it came out very, very light. And a piece of dyed cardstock for journaling on too. I love the greens. On this side, made a little booklet to go with this page. Tea dyed paper, sewn together, a little bird to match. And I'm pretty sure this is vintage lace. And this is a card made from a greeting card. Tea dyed that and cut off the edges to give them a curved shape. And this was from a book, and I added some tea dyed paper on the back to make a writing space. I think it might have been a day book. It was from a thrift store. Oh, cats and puppies, yep. Gardens. And that was made from a greeting card. And here's a little hidden journaling space here. And you can write there too. And this is from, I think, from a wildflower book, and I tea dyed that as well. And this envelope here, which makes a nice spot for maybe putting some writing paper or keepsakes. And there. Here's some paper I've had, I guess it was last year I tried onion skin dyeing. It was supposed to come out purple, but it came out green, but I like the green color. Every time my husband sees this paper, he says, oh, I like that paper. I've got a whole big jar of onion skins to do some more dyeing. Hopefully I'll do that before winter sets in, because I like to dry it outside. And here's just a little piece of handmade paper for writing on. And an altar paper clip. Almost looks like a flower. And a journal card with some tea dyed paper doily and some pansies cut from a day book that I've had for, oh my goodness, since the 80s. And this is one of the pictures that made me think, yeah, this is a cottage theme book. She is, what is she working with there? Looks like maybe mushrooms. Oh, and then she's got a little cat, I think, beside her there. Here's the center of the second signature, and we've got some poppies on there and poppies on here. Little postcard and a little faux envelope I made that has a little piece of tea dyed paper in here for writing on. And this could be glued together, but if it's not, then you can collage or write on that as well on the inside. Love these wildflowers. And here, oh, love this here. And it's almost to be able to catch a picture like that. Like, this is obviously painting, but wouldn't it be great to catch a picture like that? Beautiful Dreamer. It's a flip so you can read what's under here. And this is from, oh, I can't remember what year this was from. Quite old, this book that I have. It's definitely vintage. You can tell by the feel of the paper and the color of it. That's naturally dyed, just from age. Little spot here for journaling. And this opens right up so you can read about the raven, the red-breasted nuthatch, chickadee. While I was working on this journal, a chickadee kept landing on the Virginia creeper that's hanging in my window, so he was less than 3 feet away from me a couple of times. But once I got the camera out, then it took off. Would have been a cute picture. A little bit of snippet roll there that matches this little booklet I put together. Friendship's Glory, and a little bit of writing space in there. Again, some of that paper that I dyed with the berry paper, and this was paper that I dyed with grapes last year. And a little altar paper clip here. At least I don't need it there, I don't think. Little altar paper clip with a cute little leaf on it, because on this side it's holding this, something just recently got from the thrift store. I just love this card. I didn't even dye it, I just left it. It's made in the UK. Just gorgeous. Looks like a cottage. Yeah, I'm a sucker for cottages. And I live in a cottage looking home too. And here we've got one of my little handmade envelopes with some this and that in it. Bible verse, Bible card, trivia card, playing card. And this is also an altar paperclip. It's a vintage paperclip as well. I don't have that many of those ones, but every once in a while I pull one out, and I thought this went really nice with it. It's a little leaf charm. On this side we've got one of those little boxes that opens up, origami box, and inside I've got a piece of handmade paper for journaling on. There's room probably for a couple more little small things. A tuck spot here for writing on. That's from, I think it was a book for keeping birthdays and cards in. And after having had it for 10 years, I realized I wasn't going to use it, so might as well make something of it. And I did the reverse. Usually when I do the envelope thing, I put this side on the other side, but I thought, oh, this is kind of cute with the little card sticking out and a tea-dyed magazine picture on there. And then you can write on the back. You can write on here too. It's coffee dyed paper. I did that probably 3 years ago from a craft magazine. And on this side there's a little tuck spot. There's a little flower there. Another paper from the friendship book. And some writing space here. A little tag you can write on the back. It's tea-dyed. And this side I turned a greeting card into writing space here and here. And made this into a tag, and this is from an old accordion sort of file thing that I had, and I took apart because parts of it were just ripped because I got myself a newer one. So rather than just chuck it into the recycles, I have made tags out of it. From the mushroom book, a little picture of I think that's a squash. A little tuck spot here. What I did to do this was I had a tea-dyed envelope, and you fold it over the edge of the page and you glue on the bottom. You end up with a nice tuck and a little pocket. Now on this side I put a sweet quote from a greeting card and a little bit of snippet roll. It goes with the colors of the card here, and the pink goes with this vintage trim over there, and this is from a greeting card as well. Just love the flower theme. And now we go to the third signature, and it has vintage lace, tea-dye papers, naturally aged French paper from what do you call those books for traveling? And this paper is naturally aged too. I remember when I first saw it, I thought, ooh. But then now that I'm a junk journal, I was like, oh no, that's beautifully naturally aged paper. And it's from a nursery rhyme book that had some very not politically correct stuff in it. I mean, I don't want to get like super paranoid about that stuff, but it just really was annoying. So I thought, nope, sorry book, you're getting taken apart. And this here, I got this idea from, I don't even remember from where, but this is a picture from a magazine, so I tea-dyed it. Oh, love those roses. And I glued it onto a Get Well card that I had, rather than keep using the same Get Well card that really doesn't make sense to use in a junk journal, I glued the magazine paper on it and then trimmed it off. And this is one of my favorite verses, He careth for you, 1 Peter 5:7. So I'll be doing that with some more of them. This side I turned a journal card into, or a greeting card into a journal spot, and it also has a place for journaling there, journal tag. What a sweetie. And I liked how this pattern went with the pattern on the paper and behind it. Here's the journal spot. Made this little card here from picture from, I think it was from a gardening magazine. I put some texture on there. And this little doily here, I folded it over the bottom of the page so that it makes a pocket on either side, and just glued on these parts here. And there you go. You can see what's underneath it too. There's another one of those tags made from my record keeping file that fell apart. I'd had it since I was a newlywed. But now I have one that's very similar but newer. Oh yes, this Queen Anne's lace, that is from my property. I pressed it. I think I showed a little short about that on YouTube. And this was from the Wildflower book. I don't know why that was in there, but I thought it would be cute in here. Go with these wildflowers. And there's a little journal paper here, tucked under an altered paper clip that I've got bits of stuff from. This is another thing I realized. Yeah, for making those snippet rolls, I have my little boxes of like snippet stuff, I call it, just leftovers. Well, they're perfect for decorating like little mini things like this too. You just pull it out and glue away. And here's a nice journaling spot too. Waste not, want not. And here's a journal card with some tea-dyed doily and paper doily, and a magazine picture that I tea-dyed. That's also a magazine picture, something I stamped, and a bit of texture there. I think it's from the bottom of some lace, the plain part. Some graph paper, some more graph paper there, some old book page, and it just sew around the edge. And yeah, that was fun. Made that especially for this journal. Oh, and this page. Oh, I think this is fun. I put an envelope inside out because I love the pictures of daisies. And then on the inside, that was the outside, I sewed some tea-dyed paper for journaling. And once this is closed, I think you probably could tuck something in there too. But in the meantime, there's a spot here for tucking. That could be collaged or just journaled on. When I have a lot of pictures in the journal, I tend to leave more blankish tags and journal cards so that there's more room for writing. So I'm really, really into journaling myself. So I understand that need. And here's a postcard from, I think it's from Ireland, printed in Ireland. And this is, oh, very Canadian. Prairies, farming in Saskatchewan. That's definitely vintage. Love those classic pictures. I thought it went nice with the wildflowers in the background. And this is vintage lace here too. Each of the signatures has vintage lace pockets. And there's a cottage. Cottage flower garden. My fave, my fave. And here's some paper here for journaling on, and a little journal tag there. Lots more writing space. Oh yes, here's that lining from that envelope, and I glued it onto some tea-dye cardstock. That went nice with this paper. And here's a little bit of a flip out. Has some things to do with seeds on it. Keeping with the garden theme. A little thing to write on there. You can write on both sides of this. And here we've got a little tag about roots. And right on the back of that. And there's a little tag. Tea dye with some fabric on it. Some more snippet roll there. And some little tags here, just for them. And a little tuck spot here with some William Morris wallpaper. Well, it's not actually wallpaper, but it's a copy of his wallpaper. Journal card here. And a large journal card here. Oh, I made this one too, especially for this journal. I thought it goes really nice with the paper that lines it. So I've got a dragonfly, and this was from a garden magazine, and I tea-dyed it, stamped that. There's several types of paper in the background. I think they're all to do with gardens. Yeah, they're all about gardening. On the back is journal space. I sew it around the edge. And this little booklet here, this is also silk. Yeah, piece of silk sample with some tea-dyed paper doily, and a little bit of cardboard, and a faux stamp, and a button, and some tea-dyed ribbon, and some vintage, not sure what to call this, but trim. And it has some tea-dyed tracing paper inside. It's so dainty and doesn't weigh things down too much, because my journals, oh, there's a mother of pearl button. They tend to get too chunky, too big, too big. Yeah, I'm not sure how old this is, but the paper that it was on, the cardboard it was on, it was very aged. And my mom figured it was really old too. I'm glad I take pictures of things, so when I go see her next time, I can show her, well, the video of this, that hey Mom, I did something with that stuff. I think that's why she kept passing things on to me, because she knew I was really good about making use of things. Honestly, she would come to my house and she must think, whoa. There'd be pictures and fabric and curtains and cushions and books and all kinds of stuff. Knickknacks, all things that she had sent me in her care packages. Just all over the place. And the cool thing is my daughter and I have similar taste too. So I've passed on a lot of things to her. She has some of my favorite pieces of furniture. Now I understand. I get it. That's why moms love to give, because we're moms. Yeah, we really love our kids. So I hope you enjoyed this, and I hope that you're keeping well. And oh, I had to take naps for a while there. It's just like a little toddler. But I'm all better now. And I'm taking it easy so that I don't get sick again, because that was not fun. It always makes my heart go out to people who deal with chronic pain or chronic illness, because oh, everything in my body hurt for a week. Everything. Even my teeth were hurting. Yeah, thankful for health. My late grandmother always used to say, if you don't have your health, you don't have anything. Like, you could be wealthy, you could have a big family, lots of friends, but if you don't have your health, you don't have anything. And I think for me, faith is more important than health, but oh my, health, yes, it's so important, because you can't enjoy anything if you're not healthy. So take care of yourself, drink lots of water, get enough sleep. Yeah, and stay home when you need to. Put your feet up. Take care. Bye.